Good day and welcome back to Talking Technical. And this week I want to spend some time on what I sometimes post on Twitter. In the last few days, I think in the last 10 or 12 days, I posted two charts and both were two shares that's been hammered to pieces. Everybody hated those shares when all the bad news broke and everything was just in despair. And I just showed the charts and say, but if the share is going to show this on a chart, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? And the first one that we talk about is Renergen. I mean, everything bad happened around Renergen. I mean, this is a share that traded not long ago around 44 Rand. And in one day it fell. How's this for you? It fell from 12 Rand 9 cents to 9 Rand on that specific day. But on that specific day, I realized that there was a spike in volume. And before then, there was another spike in volume. So it tells me that on the day of the 5th of October, there was some guys just selling and was scared because something went wrong or maybe it's going to be wrong, and they just sold. And the other thing is, on that day that the share fell all the way to 9 Rand, there was another spike in volume. And I can remember when this candle appeared, I showed it and I said, listen, what is happening? Can the share go up or can it go down? Now, this is exactly what traders are looking at. They always say to themselves, okay, if there's a dark of the market and there's suddenly a spike in volume and the candle looks promising, maybe the share can go up or maybe the share can go down. And what happened? The following day, there was a little bit of a harami, or look at it, beautiful upper shadow. It told you that some guys hold on to the share when they bought it the previous day, all the way up to 12.29, took some profit, and the share closed at, I just want to get the level at 11 Rand 2 cents. And since then, the share went up beautifully. So what is the lesson here? It's not always the case that the trend is going to be down. It's going to remain down forever. If you are a trader, if you are a short-term investor or not investor, speculative guy, then you must look at some of the candles, and that is exactly what we are doing for a living. We assist traders with those decisions. And we sometimes get the question, listen, Frans, this is what I see on the chart. Look at this, look at that. Do you agree that something can happen? And then immediately we analyze the share and we tell that trader, listen, this is what we think. So at least the guy has a different opinion, or he's got an opinion that is worth his ideas, and then he can make money out of it. Now let's have a look at Renergen. There's the 50-day moving average sitting at 20 Rand and 2 cents, and it's now trading at around 14.43. So there's a long way before it's going to be positive. But if you bought the share, let's say you bought the share at around 10 Rand 70 on that day with the spike in volume, or even the next day, the share is now sitting at 14 Rand 43. That is a 40% increase in the share price in the last couple of days. Now, definitely, you're not going to buy, or let's say, R1,000,000 of the share. You're not going to sell your house or you're going to sell your farm. But what you can maybe do is you're going to say, I bought 1,000 shares, it went up 40%, I make my 3,000 Rand or 4,000 Rand. I just don't work it out now. But I just say, you make some nice money, you make your 30%, and you walk away. And right exactly now, yes, everybody is telling you that the trend is down because they are 100% correct. The trend is down. But if you are a trader, there you are. You look at the candle and look at this candle that appeared earlier this week on Friday last week. That is a possible shooting star. So yes, if you still hold on to your share, you see the shooting star and you immediately just draw in that little line. And if you don't draw it in and you ask me a question, I'll immediately tell you on the speculative group, watch the shooting star, but that will only be confirmed below 13 Rand 26. So this is exactly why I'm showing you this chart. That yes, there's maybe not opportunities, let's say for that day or the following day. I must disagree. There is always opportunities in the market. So sometimes it's on the Aussie, sometimes it's in the S&P 500, sometimes it's in maize, sometimes it's in a share, and you must just read your candles. You must look at what the chart is telling you, and you must not be greedy. And if you do that, you can maybe make a little bit of a living, or maybe just add some money to your portfolio. And if you're wrong, you've always got the stop loss to protect your money. And the big thing is, don't go in too big. If you like Renergen, you think you want to nibble on it, don't go and buy 100,000 of the shares. Maybe buy 1,000 or 500 that you can live with and sleep well with, and then you are happy. Just to finish off there, let's go to Pick and Pay. That was exactly the same kind of share. Exactly everything was just terrible, bad news. It was a ugly day. The share fell. I mean, in 4 days, it fell from 33.35 to 24. I mean, that's 8 Rand just gone. Now, and there's also a gap there, and there's another gap. And I know usually a share trader ways from the gap, but the rule of the gap is also it will maybe close either today or tomorrow or sometimes in future. So gaps are also attractive places. And there you are. There was a tiny little gap. The share went down, it came back and it closed it. Let's just show you there. There was the tiny gap. Let's just draw it in. And you will see it didn't take long before the share closed that. And exactly, I also tweeted what can happen. Can it go up? Can it go down? And what do we see here? We see the same scenario. There's the 50-day moving average peeping up right at the top at 40.40. So there's still a lot of weight. But look at this spike of volume. And that spike of volume, always remember, there's some buyers and some sellers. And the guys that sold the share sold it in despair. But the buyers bought it in hope. And there you are. There you've got the tiny little candle here right at the bottom. That's what we call a tiny little morning star. And I had exactly before I tweeted that tweet, can the share can go up or down? One of our speculative guys actually phoned me. He's on the group and he said to me, Frans, just have a look at Pick and Pay for me. What do you see? I see a tiny little morning star, he said. And he was 100% correct. And let's have a look there. There's the morning star in the making, and above 25 Rand 23 cents, the high of that candle, it gave you the buying signal. The stop loss was 24.04, and there you are. The share went up. And even if you bought, say, let's say 1,000 at 25.15, and you sold it at 26.50 or 27 Rand, that's 1,500 Rand on 1,000 shares. And if you are wrong, you just take your stop loss. So yes, shares can go down and they can remain to the downside for longer. And yes, you can be wrong. But if you suss out the ideas, if you don't trade too big, if you look after your capital, let's say you stick to your stop loss, or you buy it for the long term and you just wait. Let's say you bought 200 shares here at 25 Rand and you just want to add them as the company maybe recover or do things to rectify the situation. This can turn out to be a wonderful investment. Remember, never be greedy. Don't buy too many shares at one time. Don't put yourself at risk. And I can remember many years ago when I learned a lot from Lucas de Lange. I mean, he was my mentor for so many years. He taught me almost everything that I knew. And one of his golden rules, he said one day to me, Frans, if you have a position, let's say you've got 200 shares in Pick and Pay at 25 Rand. But you've got in the bank 100 million Rand. But that tiny little shares at 25 Rand, let's say that 200 or 300 shares that you've got there right at the bottom, worries you and you cannot sleep at night. That position is too big for your emotion. So always trade within your emotional capacity. So there you are. If you want to know in future, why do I tweet? It's sometimes questions from clients from us, just to entice your mind a little bit and say to yourself, look at the chart. And that is what we do for a living. We assist traders, we assist investors with technical decisions, so to help them, not to show them what to do, to help them. And that's the bottom line. Thank you for watching the show. Visit our website, www www.fransdeklerk.com for more info, and we will chat again.